Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Dojo Live recap show. Today is Monday, June 15, 2020. I'm Tulio Siragusa, broadcasting from Los Angeles. I'm joined by my co-host, Carlos Ponce, who is just outside of Mexico City. Hey, Carlos, welcome back.
Thank
Good to
you.
have you. So we're recapping
Likewise,
last
Tulio.
we're recapping last week's show. We only had one show last week on Wednesday, and we had Jose Leal, who is the co-founder of Radicals, which is a radicalpurpose.org. And it was very familiar to me being a co-founder of that organization with Jose. So I enjoyed the conversation, and it was great to hear him give his perspectives. A few things that stood out. One, this idea that in order for individuals to feel like they have purpose, they can make an impact, they have meaning, and they belong, you have to remove this concept of needing to have an organization, or at least structuring things in such a way that doesn't allow the people to fully participate. It's more like a top-down approach to doing things, which is how many companies are set up today. Someone sets the agenda, someone sets the vision, and everyone just kind of follows along. And what stood out the most was this idea of, what if we turn that upside down? What if everyone participating in setting the agenda, everyone participated in creating the purpose, so that you don't have employees, quote unquote, you have co-leaders, co-participants, co-creators of the future of a business or anything that you're trying to do, whether it's a business or an organizational outcome. What stood out for you, Carlos?
Well, first of all, thank you, Tulio. And many things stood out for me because, uh, first and foremost, the whole concept of being a radical, what it entails, and being part of an organization like the one we belong to and such, it's fairly new. I mean, not like yesterday, but it's been in my mindset. It's been like still distilling, so to speak. But what did stand out for me was the fact that I felt it was very, everything that Jose Leal uh, mentioned was very empowering. It helped me to become even more aware that it's all up to me. It's all up to each and every one of us. If we are going to make a dent in our organization, in our communities, especially if we're in the right organization like Nearsoft, making a dent is up to us. Leaving a mark is up to us. Being agents of change is up to us. It's not up to somebody else. It's up to our, let's say, our own drive to become agents of change, and without having to ask for permissions. So that was like the highlight of everything that Jose talked about. And that's like the main thing, to Leo, to be honest. Like, again, I'm fairly new to the radical movements, and I'm grateful that I'm getting to know more and more people like Jose, like yourself, like Matt Perez, our COO. But that was like the main thing. It was empowering, it was enabling, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, that the words radical kind of incite this idea of political and unrest, but that's not the intent at all. You're a radical organization if you've done away with the traditional command and control structure, if you've done away with the traditional hierarchy, and if you have embraced an environment where people are equal in their ability to contribute to the success of the business. And more importantly, that is also predicated on this idea that everyone gets treated as an adult and acts like an adult, right? So unfortunately, a lot of the structures that are in place today either have been borrowed from the military structure, where there's the soldier that does everything, and there's the general who sets out the vision, or the assembly line environment where everything was structured. In many cases, that structure helps, potentially save your life. You do have to follow some procedures if you're manufacturing, at least back in the day when everything was manual, right? So, but part of that is that it doesn't take into account that individuals do bring ingenuity, do bring innovation and new ideas. And if you don't create an environment where you can equally contribute, then what you have is people who are just employed, right? Who are employed like a piece of equipment to get a job done. And that's created a lot of disengagement. Many companies have highly disengaged, quote unquote, employees because they're not co-creating the
Mm-hmm.
future of their organization. They're not co-leading the future of their organization. I have a blog coming out tomorrow specifically talking about this. What does leadership need to look like in order to have a highly engaged environment?
Mm-hmm.
And just using words like human capital, human resources, human assets, even the word employee, it all has a connotation of controls. It doesn't have a connotation of, hey, let's work together to accomplish something that's purposeful, that we're all excited about. And we know in organization, even our own organization at Nearsoft, it works. Not only does it work, those organizations are some of the most profitable organizations in the world because you have everyone acting as a co-CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, it was a great way to talk about and highlight why a movement like that matters, and the impact it can have on people. And then the big challenge that comes up is, well, how do you shift into that? And it's very hard. If you're an existing structure in company, it's not going to be an easy transition because it requires essentially the bosses to remove themselves from those roles, right? You have to
Mm-hmm.
essentially stop being the boss, right? You have to create an environment where you're on the same boat like everybody else, you're rolling up your sleeve like everybody else, and you're co-leading and creating a space for other people to co-lead, which
Yeah.
is a very difficult thing to do, but there's organizations doing it. There's a lot of organizations doing it. Companies like
Yeah.
Zappos, HCL, Davita, WD-40, Nearsoft. It's not a novel idea anymore. It's been around
Right.
for almost 20 years. What else came up for you? Did you see anything, like, even from your own experience, that you felt like, wow, I really wish we had that in place, or I really like more companies to have that in place? Did anything stand out for you, in the conversation?
Yes. Yeah. And you mentioned something that I consider to be key. You mentioned engagement, right? And I think engagement on the employee, due to a lack of a better word for now, employee side, I think it's how can I say this to you? I'm trying to come up with the right word. It's like it's a double-sided equation. Okay, I become more engaged, the better I feel about the organization that I'm in, and I am the more that the organization allows me to become more engaged, it's like a reciprocal kind of growth. It's a joint growth. That's not an easy thing to accomplish, especially in more traditional organizations, because even if given the chance to become more engaged and become more empowered, not a lot. It's not for everybody, because a lot of people are going to be, they might even be scared, because now they're going to be held accountable for not only for their achievements, but also for their screw ups, right? So it's a kind of a risky situation for a lot of people, because it's not for everyone. It takes a special kind of mindset. So it's not only the organization that needs to shift their mindset, but also the individual, the participants, the actors of the equation. And it takes some time as well. Takes some education. It takes a lot of watching a lot of interviews like this one, with voices like the one that Jose Leal has. So I hope that everything's going to become more and more commonplace nowadays.
Yeah, and look, just speaking the truth, it's rooted in self accountability. That's the
Yeah,
only way it
yeah,
works. And here's the good thing: in traditional organizations, it's easy to hide out. You can
hmm
be a spoke in the wheel and hide out for months
hmm
sometimes.
right.
In self-accountable organization, there's no hiding out because we are holding each other accountable all the time. And it's like you go from having one boss to having 20 bosses. But it doesn't feel that way because it's not about anyone having their thumbs on you or checking on you or keeping in track of what you're doing. It's about encouraging each other to work and succeed on our own terms. And that's the key thing about engagement. If you want people engaged, you got to let them do it on their own terms. You can't dictate, here's what you need to engage in, because not everybody's interested in the same things, and have to symbiotically let that take its own form. And people have the ability to organize themselves in groups of common interest and common purpose. And that's the beautiful thing about how you create magic in the organization, is that you allow people to be themselves, organize themselves, with the caveat that there is value that needs to be created, there is goals that need to be met, but it's a collective effort and everyone is equally participating.
Absolutely.
Great. Carlos, great to recap. We're up on time. What do we got coming up this week?
Sure. Next Wednesday, Tulio, at 1 p.m., we are going to be speaking with Benjamin Cairns. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Cairns. He is the CEO and founder of DataStax. DataStax is an open source, scale out, cloud native, no SQL database platform. And we're going to be having a conversation with him. Unfortunately, I don't have the topic yet. The guest hasn't sent it over to me. Should be, what can I tell you, Tulio? It should be as interesting as ever as all of Dojo Lives' conversations. It's going to be a story that brings us together, no doubt.
Exactly.
That's going to be on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. And that's what we have. No confirmation for Tuesday yet, folks, so please bear with us. But Wednesday, 1 p.m., DataStax on Dojo Live.
Come back. We'll talk about a new company, new ideas, culture, and keep it going. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll talk to you again soon. Stay safe.
Thank you.